Let's have a look, shall we? Hello, people. Let's move that slightly that way. Touch wood, you can all see me, because I'm now looking at the camera rather than... I've moved and adjusted the camera. I might have to move it again, but it kept getting in the way of me screen. And something else is getting in the way of me screen now as well. It's really annoying. Right, so, anyway, we're there. Let's have a look. It says set reminder. Well. Let's get that out of the way there. You should see it slightly different. Hello everyone and DD. Right, first of all, give me a 5x5. Can you all hear me? Again, hopefully you're all out there. I'm seeing plenty of people come in there. Well done. I'm seeing all these flags coming in. The Welsh flags, the English flags. And I've got to tell you something, I ain't got a problem with the Scottish flag. So is anyone Scottish out there who wants to put a Scottish flag in there? Please do, is the answer. But there's a lot of things going on at the moment, so I'm just going to, as long as you're getting a 5x5 and you can hear me okay. David Wesley, well done, son, 5x5. I can tell you now, I'm still recovering from Saturday. My legs are killing me. I don't think I've ever walked as far, not recently. Caustic Chameleon, hello, darling. Totally forgot today was Monday. It's a holiday in the USA, although I have a showing at 5 p.m. Working on a bank holiday, darling. Let me tell you something, it is a holiday here as well. It's a bank holiday here. Everyone's out enjoying the sun. Instead, I have been indoors, messing about with computers, messing about with cameras, trying to get me angle or this other thing, and I didn't realise that this, what's it called? The thingy bob that you hold in your hand. It's got so many different functions on it, but never mind. As long as the sound is fine and you can all hear me. I don't know how this setup's going to work. I've tried to set it up so it's on this screen and the sound comes through this screen. I'm hoping there ain't going to be an echo. If there is, it means I need to work with someone in the background, probably Mark, because he's normally a good volunteer for that. And see if we can test it in another way on another, probably tonight or tomorrow or something. It's Memorial Day, a day we honour the fallen military. Yes, Caustic. It's May Day here. Evening, DD. Hello, DD, and all patriots. Stu Ward, how you doing there? We have tonight, hopefully, if the sound goes all right and there's no echo, etc., we will have... our friend Jonathan Tilt from the Freedom Alliance Party on. It's an interview. Freedom, Human Rights. I'll be showing you more detail about that, and we'll be having a discussion about why they formed the party, who the people are that are involved with it. Hopefully it will dispel any... I don't think there's been any accusations if it's been infiltrated, but let me tell you something, all political parties do get infiltrated by, and specifically by the... Oh yeah, bleed now, I forgot to send him the thing. Let me just say, Gimbal, that's it, that's what it's called. Let me just try and do something, because this fella's asked me for this link, and I'm going to send it to him now. How do I get back to him on that? I'll tell you where. I'll go... there it is. Live now. Right, so I am hoping this doesn't go pear-shaped, but I'm actually going to go and have a look at something else as well. Where did I have Mr. Rumble up there? Let's go and have a look at Mr. Rumble and see if he's still playing. Daddy Dragon channel. My content. Let's see if she's live on there at the moment. I can't see any lives on Mr. Rumble. I'm hoping he is live. Freedom Alliance interview. Let's have a look and see if that comes up as live. I can't see any live. Oh, blimey, it is live, and it's coming up proper live there, mate. Do like that, and no doubt we are also on the other channel, which you should all be on there, Foxhole. So what I'm also going to do is go back to this fella because he's asked me for the links. And there it is on that one. So either one is on there. Now I'm going to have a look. Handheld thing is a gimbal, and yeah, I'm up for sorting anything out. Thank you. And don't forget, I've sort of worked out the dates that I'm going up to. Let's just get the timing right of this because I want to get a few things out before we bring our friend in, Jonathan. And he is waiting in the live room. Jonathan, if you've got your if this show on in the background, turn the volume right the way down. And it may be better if you don't have the live running. Only it depends on your bandwidth. I've got a 40 meg upload here, which is a little bit different to most people. Only because I go out on a number of channels at the same time. Let me just see, because I actually said when I was going up to... right, yeah, probably that. Right, so these are the dates I am going up to Batley and Spen. So I'm going to whack that out there so everyone knows that I'll be up there and talking to people, etc. So just in case you want to know what dates. When I say probably, because nothing is set in stone at the moment, apart from the fact that I think we've probably got 2 people standing. So let me just introduce our guest before we go any further, and then I'll actually attempt to bring him into the Zoom. Bearing in mind I'm using Wirecast, so I don't know what the sound's going to be like. I'm hoping it's not going to go pear-shaped. So here we go. Jonathan Till, my understanding is a number of people created a new party, which is the Freedom's Alliance Party, which has got nothing to do with this Facebook group, which you've already been made aware of. I'm not sure if Jonathan wants to comment on that or whether he will comment on that. Freedom's Alliance Party is registered with the Electoral Commission. It's a lot of aggravation getting it done and going through that system. They've got a number of candidates. I will be bringing up the website and we'll be going on from there. So what I'm going to attempt to do, and I don't know if this is going to work straight off, but we hope it does. We have now got this double, and hopefully you are. So it says on the screen that you're connecting to the audio. Hopefully you're there.
I'm here. Can you hear?
That's it.
Hear me?
Yeah. So if you give me a one, just give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Give me a sound.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's it. Well done.
Listen, I can count.
Just to let you know, this geezer used to be an accountant, so I knew he'd get that right. Just to let you know.
That's a pause halfway through to remember.
Right. Hang on. Let me just make sure. I'll ask the audience. You getting that 5x5 with no feedback or echo? And if anyone says they're getting an echo, I'm going to shoot them. 5x5. Everyone says that's fine, which is a good thing. I think the sound, touch wood, is working. So the first thing to say to you, Jonathan, is welcome to the Full English Show. So
thank you for inviting me.
You're on here, and again, I haven't really gone into any of your history, etc. But although it's obviously in your public profile, but do you want to explain a little bit about your history, who you are, what you do now for a living, especially if you want to promote that business as well? You're welcome to do that, and just give us an idea of who you are and how it come about that you ended up starting a political party, or one of the people starting it.
Okay, I'll do my best. I used to be an accountant. I stopped doing that about 15 years ago and retrained as an acupuncturist. I still do a small amount of accountancy for a few charities on a sort of voluntary basis, but I make my living treating acupuncture patients primarily in Barnsley and a few in Wakefield. Up until the sort of end of 2019, I was leading a fairly sort of happy, content life. I was earning a nice income. I'd got my kids to look after. And things were fairly good, basically, as they probably were for quite a number of people. I'd had a small amount of involvement in politics in the past. I'd had slightly involved in the setting up of the Yorkshire Party, because I've always been a sort of strong devolutionist and a believer in the notion that some government is largely inherently bad, and the smaller you can make it and the closer to the people you can make it, the better.
Yeah.
But I dropped that. They, as far as I could see, become another sort of social democratic party, and I wasn't particularly interested in that. My political philosophy essentially is libertarian, but I wasn't actively involved in politics and hadn't done anything at all since about 2015, 2016. When the corona epidemic came along in early 2020, I think it became apparent to me and a few friends that it was being overplayed. The reaction was over the top. Once we got through that first spike in April time, the death rates fell right back down during the summer, and in the end, during 2020, the deaths per thousand people at 9.4 was completely average, slightly up on 2019, but well down on 2016 and 2017. And that the restrictions were being imposed, it was big government gone mad. You have to stay in your house, you have to close your business. A lot of it, now shown to be unlawful, but was taken as regulations at the time. And what I regarded as, the slightly sort of Stalinistic clapping for the NHS on which is not to denigrate people working in the NHS and to say that, there's some people that worked extremely hard there, but the notion that we go outside our houses and clap for a government institution, we're going to start doing it for the DVLA or somebody next. It seems obscene and absurd to me. The sort of the fear propaganda, the forever trying to convince people that it was going to be worse than it was and that there would be more people dying and all of that. So the reaction of myself and several other friends who'd formed anti-lockdown groups in West Yorkshire was that we needed to try and establish a political party and at least give people the opportunity to vote against the restrictions and the regulations at whatever elections came up. So we set about doing that late 2020. The task was quite an enormous one. Registering a political party with Electoral Commission, rightly so, is not a straightforward task.
No.
But we got ourselves registered just before the elections in May. The closing for nominations for the elections in March, and with an absolute mad panic at the end of the day, managed to field 160 candidates in the Scottish Parliament, the Welsh Senate, and the English Council elections. And also in the Hartlepool by-election. We didn't do particularly well. We got sort of 1 to 2% of the vote. A couple of places we got 3 or 4%, which was a little disheartening, but it's a starting point. We need to build on it and get the message out there. There's 2 further by-elections coming up. There's Adrian Oliver is standing in Cheshire and Amersham on the 17th of June. And I myself am standing in Batley and Spen, which is the next door constituency to me here, on the 1st of July, we're going to do our best to beat those 3 and 4%. We feel that there is a real appetite for a party that opposes lockdown and opposes mandatory vaccination as well, or coercive vaccination, because I don't personally think mandatory vaccination is coming, other than perhaps for healthcare workers. But I think there's going to be an awful amount of coercion around vaccine passports and not just the first and second jab, but I think there will be repeat booster jabs that you have to keep up to date if you want to go and watch a football match or go to the cinema, and you can see that extending beyond that to various types of employment and using public transport and things like that. And that's not a world that we should be heading into. That's not the world I want my children to grow up into. It's not the world I want anybody's children to grow up into. This has to come to an end. Throughout this, without wishing to betray any confidences, but I obviously get to see quite a few people on a one-to-one basis in the acupuncture clinic, and I throughout it had a sense that people smelt a rat. They wouldn't put their head above the parapet. They wouldn't take the mask off, but get them on a one-to-one basis. And 70-80% of people, it seemed to me, knew that this did not add up. It was being overplayed. Nobody's a COVID denier saying the thing doesn't exist. And I know people that work in intensive cares in hospitals, and there clearly is something. And there clearly was something in April. I suspect there was something before April last year. Actually, I know an awful lot of people that were ill in January and February 2020. But it is being overplayed. The government are playing, a fear agenda. They're downplaying the size of the opposition. I don't know how many people were marching in London on Saturday, but it was into the hundreds of thousands, and the BBC are reporting there were 350 there. It's just blatant in your face lying, isn't it? Why do they need to do that?
So let me just say to everyone and yourself, on Saturday I actually walked with them people, and I can tell you now, there were in the region of 1 million plus. I walked for 5 hours and it was still solid in front of me and behind me. And by the time we went to, like I say, the Hilton bar, I couldn't walk another step. So instead I pressed an elevator button to get to the 28th floor to where the bar was. And a number of us, sat there. I see how many people was there and how many people come out. There are some other people making some comments about that. So, let me just clarify. I don't know.
If I can just pick up on that one point, actually, because I think that's very significant, actually. And I think, if there were 1 million there, if there were 800,000, for me up here in Yorkshire, most people I know who were firmly anti-lockdown didn't go to it. I didn't go to it. I run an anti-lockdown political party, but I didn't go to it because I couldn't get childcare for the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think you can scale it up by a factor of about 10. So for every one person actually went, there's another 8, 9, 10 that didn't go. So if there were 1 million there,
I agree entirely with you.
8 million on our side, I would say, as a minimum. Yeah.
Well, so just to let you know, there are people that come from Yorkshire, the Midlands, Wales, all over this country, it meaning England and even Scotland, who come down not only to walk with me, but all coming together as one, and they all accept and understand what I say about our rights, our English rights, and who's taken them, which we'll get on to in a couple of minutes, and certainly about the distributed way in which we should be governed, not central government as it is now, and certainly, in my view, not by the British, because they're the ones who took everything that the English have given us. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there was many people from Yorkshire literally come down, and we met up, and all the English flags and Yorkshire flags and the different county flags, which is what I promote, and that's what I want people to say. I want people to understand that there is a structure to England, and it existed a long time before the British, and it is what made us one of the most successful nations on earth, including supporting the country that fought back against the British, which was the Americans, and made them the number one country in the world. And it isn't their landmass that made them the number one country in the world, because they're not the biggest. Russia is. And it wasn't their populace, because they ain't the largest population. India and China are. It was the constitution that they created from the English constitution that made them the freest, greatest nation on earth. And the more people recognise that and start to understand that it is the English that's got the constitution, not the British. So, from my point of view, I'm going to go into more detail with the party, and I'm grateful for you talking to me about them different things. On a personal level, why did you switch from accountancy to acupuncture?
I fancied a change, I think. I'd used acupuncture a lot for sports injuries. I've sort of dabbled in, probably relatively seriously, in swimming and to a less extent running, and I always found acupuncture very helpful for sports injuries.
Yeah.
I was a bit sick of the particular job I was doing at the time, and I just fancied a change. I did sort of both for a while alongside each other while I was training and when I was setting up. So it wasn't a light bulb thing where you switch from one to the other. It was a sort of transition.
Like a gradual switch over and then building up clients. But the thing is, you have probably, in that relation, you've had 2 businesses or worked in 2 businesses. As an accountant, you also understand the tax regime and how bad it is basically for businesses and for individuals and smaller businesses. You can see that. But now you're on the sharp end, because you've actually seen how this has affected you directly as a small business, and how crushing it is when people can't come into you.
Yes. Yeah, completely. I mean, you have small businesses, you have a hand-to-mouth existence. You have to generate income on a day-to-day basis. And if somebody takes that away and takes it away unlawfully, it is catastrophic.
Yeah.
Having said, I mean, I do understand the tax regime, and I understand the many, many weaknesses of it. But I think the fundamental problem now is that the government isn't actually bothered about taxation. They're funding 75% of this through the printing press. They're not even funding it through debt. They're just printing money that they owe to themselves. Which I firmly believe is going to lead us into a currency collapse and hyperinflation. Yeah. And that is how we will pay for this nonsense through, when we're paying £10 for a loaf of bread and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think the government's even bothered about tax. I don't think they're even bothered about how much they spend now. We've got to take that printing press off them. I mean, I understand everything you're coming out with the Constitution, and
I understand. So
I do agree. But for me, the fundamental thing is we've got to switch that printing press off, because the minute you do that, the government loses its power.
Not only do I agree with you there, the only way, in my opinion, that you're ever going to switch that printing press off is to go back to an English Parliament, because the English will be in complete control of their own currency. I want Scotland to have its own currency. In fact, it was the Scots that invented the banking system as we know it now. If people understood, that's why there's 4 or 5 banks, Royal Banks of Scotland and the Bank of Scotland's in Scotland. So the more people understand it, and I'm pleased that you do get that, because I often have conversations. I've got books here on the monetary system, again on the taxation systems and everything like that. And I've said to them, it's not the first time. If we create our own money, so people don't realise that 97% of all money in circulation is created by the banks, not by the government. Only 3% of money is created by the actual government. So when people understand that they're the people controlling the economy, and they can crash it when they see fit, and they do. So there's lots of things, but we've also got the pharmaceutical companies, and we've also got the industrial military complex to deal with. The only way you're going to stop all of that, for me, is to avoid the Acts of Union, go back to our original structures, which are all still in place. And that's another thing people don't realise. If you go to your county council, it has a chamber there, and the chamber is to vote on local laws, on to proceed, with local elements to it, so they look after themselves. The only reason an English Parliament should be coming in is if there is a very obvious English law. But at some stages in our history, we went 60, 70 years without making a law, because the local people dealt with their issues. And again, I won't go into the history of it, but so we had a conversation, and this is really important to me. By the way, I've joined the Freedom Alliance Party. I support anyone that puts up England as a separate nation. The one thing I am absolutely vehemently against, literally claws out, is any form of regionalisation, and many people don't understand what it is. Regionalisation, and as a Yorkshireman you'll probably know, Yorkshire is already being divided up. They should leave Yorkshire alone. If it comes out to be what I would describe as the star county, in the same way as Texas is the lone star state of the United States of America, if it wanted to, Yorkshire could turn around and say, we don't want to be part of England. We don't want that to happen. England has been a country since 927, and it's only since we've had the issues with the political union. So people need to understand, who are listening now, many of them already understand this, that the British system is a political union. It is no different to the USSR. It's a supranational state. It's no different to the European Union. And I often listen to the SNP and Plaid Cymru and the way they say they want independence, and then they say they want to go back into the European Union. It absolutely beggars belief that anyone who wants independence would ever say that. So getting back to the original thing, the regionalisation has been pursued. It was created by the European Union. Regionalisation was a way of destroying England completely, destructuring it, literally deculturalising it, meaning England being it. They will not have the English name mentioned, any reference to English flags, you're far right, and all these things. So the regionalisation is the method, or one of the methods, that the EU have put in place. The first persons to utilise it was John Major for the Tories, who were socialists. It then moved across to the Labour Party, and then you had the Lib Dems and the Tories in coalition that continued with that. And what we need to do is actually take it back to the way it was. And again, the only way you're going to do that is a full-on English Parliament, remove their power, like you said, part of that is to remove their printing press. The English as a nation would create its own monetary system that isn't relying on commercial banks, and it won't be reliant on them pulling the plug anytime they want. We build our nation back up. 3 times in the past we've used it. Liverpool Notes Act, 1795, Guernsey pounds, which was 1851, I think. And the last time was the Bradbury pound, 1914, because we didn't have enough money to fight First World War. And that went on to 1935. None of that caused inflation, and that was what was known as Treasury money. It was also used in the United States of America by Abraham Lincoln, and it is very likely the reason why he got one in the back of the nut in a theatre, because the Rothschilds always closed these Treasury banking systems down. So what's really important to me, and I understand that you're a young party, I ain't got a problem with that. I'm very impressed that you've got a number of candidates standing already, that you've already stood and are standing in 2 by-elections. And by the way, I'm going to Batley and Spen, and I will be delivering leaflets, but my leaflets will probably not be in relation to the English Democrats and not be in relation to the Freedom's Alliance Party, but it's going to say Vote England, to get your rights back, basically. So obviously what I'm vehemently opposed to is any form of regionalisation in England. I want it to go back to the structure of counties, districts, parishes, the way England was great, and all our laws are still in existence to support that. So what is your party's view of regionalisation?
We're evolving policies as we move. I mean, the party was set up to fight lockdown and fight mandatory vaccinations, and we haven't really developed a policy base beyond that. And that's that's the next work in progress for us. We are fundamentally of a devolutionist nature. We believe in getting government down to the lowest possible level, and I'm increasingly convinced that could be county level in England. I mean, in terms of regions, I suppose we had seen the English regions as in size roughly similar to Scotland. I mean, Yorkshire is actually bigger than Scotland in terms of population, isn't it? Slightly.
Yeah.
So it's those sort of building blocks. But I'm fully aware of the EU agenda and the need to not play into that.
Yeah, that's the key element, and it's getting people that are normal everyday people, and I class you as a normal everyday person, to understand it, right? That's the bit they fear the most. And let me tell you something, they fear the English. 32.4 million of us signed the 2011 census. For the first time only, it was put in there, English-only national identity. We are a massive force. There doesn't need to be violence. No one wants to be aggressive to the Scots or the Welsh. In fact, I love the Scots and the Welsh. I've got lots of them that follow me. They agree. They just don't want socialism. But all they're being offered is the British, which are socialists, or the SNP, Plaid Cymru, and whatever. So that's what we're needing, is something else. I want the English Democrats to have competition, because it's like anyone. If you go out playing golf with someone and you play with a 28 handicapper, all you're ever going to be is a 28 handicapper. As soon as you start playing with scratch players and people going up the handicap, your game improves. You need competition to improve. That's why I'm a member of both parties. I don't see your parties in any way a threat to us. I mean, the only thing that I would probably have a scream up about if it ever went anywhere near regionalisation, because I know how deadly it is. But that side of it, I'm really pleased to see, and I'm really pleased that people are actually standing up and saying, "I'll tell you what, put me down. I'm gonna, I want you to vote. I want people to vote for me." That's one of the hardest things, getting people to stick their head above the parapet. I've done it a number of times. You will be vilified by the British, and one of the things as advice to you and to the party is you must use the international law of human rights, which is the international covenants that gives you the right, and the British, as the governing nation over a non-governing nation, which is England, must respect your right to self-determination, and they must promote your right to self-determination under international law. And if they don't, and if they use resources against you, that is a human rights abuse, you can report them to the Human Rights Commission in the UN, and it is brought up on an international level that the British are committing human rights abuses against the English. And that is what we've got to push forward. And that's what I'm now expressing to people. But again, there's a number of other things. So you got this lady in Scotland who's also stood, I believe, up in Scotland, comes from Glasgow.
We had 37 candidates in Scotland in the Scottish Parliament elections. Our leader, Carol Dodson, is in Scotland.
Oh, right.
The party, essentially, the sort of genesis of the party was a group of us here in Yorkshire who started setting up a party and then linked in via Facebook, etc., with a group in Glasgow who were doing the same thing. And we sort of took the decision to do it collectively rather than set up two separate parties. So we are a UK-wide party, but within that we adopt very much a four nations approach. So it's a separate leadership for each of the four nations. There's issues around exactly how we structure Northern Ireland, but certainly as far as England, Scotland, Wales go, it is it's very much a three nations approach. They are separate nations within the one party registration. But we have we have an awful lot of Scottish members, and we stood a lot of candidates in Scotland and work very hard there. So it's most good.
What I'm seeing in Scotland, because I get a lot of feedback from Scots, and they have often said to me, "Will you please set up a party in Scotland that believes what you believe in the Constitution? All this Constitution is conservative and for business, not all this socialist nonsense." And I've already said, I can't do that in Scotland. You need someone who is Scottish to stand up and say, we don't want that. This is what we're looking for. And I think it's going to bite them, the SNP, severely. But let me just get back to another thing that you've said there, especially about Scotland, because it's important. When you look at the European Union regionalisation of Scotland, because that's what it was. Scotland under the European Union regionalisation didn't lose its national identity for a reason, because they were socialist, right? But one of the things that people don't realise is that Scotland had 7 constabularies, police constabularies. They've all been removed, and you've now got a single constabulary. That means that they are under complete control of the state. They are, in effect, a state police, a whole state police force, and that is dangerous. So again, you can see the difference already in the way that they structured in Scotland. That it's the European Union. They're carrying on. They're and we're going to be attacked as a nation. Maybe not physically attacked, but certainly in every possible way, we will be attacked by them socialists in every way. So I agree with that. And Northern Ireland, obviously, I think I've already told you my views on that. I believe that they should be a completely separate nation under the wing militarily, in other words, assistance if they need it from the English, because every English regiment has been destroyed under the British, I think bar one. You can already see that the British are the ones prosecuting British troops for Northern Ireland, which is an absolute disgrace considering what happened with the Good Friday Agreement and the Fabian Society and the Socialists having a deal with the IRA and Sinn Féin. All of them walk free, and you've got our troops being prosecuted and persecuted by the British. So again, we've got no English regiments left, and we need to recreate that for our own defence, not to be aggressive towards other nations. That's not what I'm about, but we do need to be able to defend ourselves. So what else is, you've got this, what are your plans, for example, and I'm really interested in this because I'm coming up there. I've just put it in the chat. I'm actually coming up there, funny enough. Let me put it in there again. And then
when are you coming? Because we must meet up when you do.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm coming up on the 5th till the 12th of June and the 25th to the 2nd. And what I'm also doing is applying to go into the account, because bearing in mind I am also a registered journalist.
Oh, right, so, okay. Yes.
With the English Media Group, which is another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. We've set up the English Media Group, and I take an oath, which is to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, right? So as far as we possibly can, from research, from what we present, we tell the truth to people. And there's a number of different people who have joined it. We've now had to set up different elements. Not sure if you're aware. We've also got a Workers of England Union, which is doing really well now.
The other day,
yeah. So that, in particular, for example, people of the Freedom Alliance Party, if they know anyone who's being pressurised about taking vaccinations, or you don't wear a mask at work, or you don't have a vaccination, etc., that union is now dealing with that because it is unlawful, and we're dealing with all of that. So again, that's a separate thing. It's nothing to do with the
you're
English
happy
Democrats.
for us to refer people on to, because we do get quite a number of inquiries from people in those positions.
Definitely, yeah. No,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay, I mean that's valuable to have that link. Yeah.
But so the Workers of England Union, again, we've also now set up a Welsh union. I believe we set up a Scottish union now, which is basically it isn't a negative towards the other nations. We understand, well, apart from Wales because it's under the English common law system. But the Scots system is a completely different legal system to the English, and it is the English that give everybody their rights, and it's the Roman law system in Scotland, which is the same as the EU. It tries to take people's rights. We're not interested in that. We want as much freedom as possible. You can never have total 100% freedom, but you can, if you go about 120 years ago, a man who lived 60 years could go his entire life without coming into any contact with the state whatsoever, and that's the way it should be.
Sounds like bliss, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. So, they didn't have speed cameras chasing after the horse and carts, for example, but I'm sure they would have found a way eventually. But yeah, so again, what's your plans for Batley and Spen then?
The plan is to fight a robust campaign, focusing very much on the schools, particularly no masks in schools. We do not want to see schools turned into vaccination centres, and we want to see an end to Gillett competence. We think parents should have the right over children's medical matters up to the age of 16, not up to the age of 13. So we're going to fight a very robust campaign. It'll be anti-coercive vaccination and coercive medical procedures, and anti-lockdown restrictions, trying to link in very heavily with the large number of small businesses that there are in the constituency, and build up a database of those that are supportive towards us. Because where we did do well in Wales, that's particularly how we approached doing well in the couple of constituencies. We did do better in the Welsh elections. A lot of leafleting. We'll get the Royal Mail free post leaflet delivered to everybody in the constituency, and a lot of door-to-door canvassing. That under the ridiculous regulations is still permitted, so we will be knocking on doors, holding street fairs, just trying to make people aware of this. Because as I'm sure you're aware from your background with the English Democrats, your biggest problem at this point is that people just don't know you exist.
Exactly that.
And a lot of the people that would potentially vote for us, and I suspect probably for the English Democrats as well, are the people that generally don't vote. Yeah, the 40, 50, 60% that don't even bother going to the polling station. And those are the people we've got to persuade to, please come and use your vote. It doesn't mean that you agree with the system. I don't particularly agree with representative democracy. I sooner go towards a sort of direct democracy Swiss type model. But by going and casting your vote doesn't mean that you're endorsing the system. You're just using the system to try and achieve better objectives.
This is Sun Tzu direct, and I've studied that for many years, right? So you use your enemy's resources against them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing, and that's why you should vote. And all the socialists have ever done, including the British, is sought to demoralise people into not voting, which means the minority then get elected. That is their trait. And one way or the other, we need to reverse it. But I'm really pleased that you've said that, funny enough, and you've mentioned, obviously, the Swiss model as well. I've looked at that. I've looked at a number of different areas and what is good and what isn't, and I'm quite pleased with that. But again, going back to Yorkshire, I consider Yorkshire to be what I would describe as a Lone Star state. And even though that I live in the county of Kent, Yorkshire is one of them places that that will always be special to me. It is. I mean, you've got the two roses up there, the white rose and the red rose, etc., and you can go back through the history and the wars between them, etc. But I think we're all grown up enough now, and the English were the people that give us all those rights. And 9 out of 10 times, it was the North. I don't know if you're aware, but the Glorious Revolution, it was heading up north. It got blown into Brixham in Devon because of the winds and the seas. Yeah. But it was going up north to come back down on London to say we've had enough. So I love it, and I love the fact that, especially the people in the north, I am disgusted in what the British have done, especially to the powerhouse of the north, which was the powerhouse of the economy of England. With the mines, with the steel industry, with the shipbuilding industries, with the fishing industries, every element of that has been destroyed by the British. And the quicker that normal everyday people wake up to that fact, again, we've got a guy from Preston that's still being persecuted by the British for opening his gym up. I'm assisting him legally for that. Good. And we should be going into the High Court if they allow it through. If they don't, we're going straight into the European Court of Human Rights and the UN Commission for Human Rights, because it is his right to self-determination and the nation's right. So he's going to be pushing that. I don't know if you're aware, but the Acts of Union, which were the last acts of an English Parliament, categorically state that there should be free trade and free travel for all Englishmen. Right, so
I wasn't aware of that actually. No.
Well, and that is law, and it is constitutional law. It's there, and that is why it's key to us to stand up for self-determination. And the quicker we can get rid of the British, the better. But is there anything? I don't want to go too much onto that, but I definitely want to hear a bit more about the Freedom and Alliance Party. Is there anything else coming up, or anything that you're doing up there apart from Batley and Spen, which I'm coming up to as well? Have you got many people going out up there?
Well, yeah, we're hoping we get about 30 or 40 onto the streets canvassing. I mean, my nomination's not in until Friday, but we're obviously working. We've got the leaflet will go out fairly soon after that. Yeah. And then we'll get organised to cover the streets. We're having a contingent come down from Scotland to help us, so I understand. And people from elsewhere in the country. I think we've got something like 90, 100 members in West Yorkshire anyway. So we'd be hopeful that a number of those will turn out to help us. As a party, we've got about 3,000 members now, which we're quite pleased with that. We've only really been up and running since just after Christmas. Yeah. Obviously, the local elections gave us a bit of publicity, but by and large, I mean, although you said earlier, expect to be vilified, and we do expect to be vilified. My experience to date is that we're ignored. Really, that's the approach of the media to us by and large, and was during the local and Scottish and Welsh elections. They gave us the absolute bare minimum of attention that they legally have to. It was we were completely ignored, and I don't think that's because we were new or small. I think it was deliberate.
That you're up against the establishment. Yeah. They've been doing this, and divide and rule. They've been doing it for a long time. That's why I talk about brotherhood of nations. The one thing that you can 100% do if you stand up for independence, complete independence for all three nations, Wales, Scotland and England, and it's really important because we're the only country that hasn't had a referendum on it. Let me tell you something. They are then walking into a hornet's nest of their own making, because by law, international law, they must promote and respect your right to self-determination as a nation. And you're then walking them into the firing line with other nations where people start to realise what they're doing. And that is why. So in effect, it will aid you as a party, because if you take that up as one of the elements is the way we get our rights back, and our freedom to do whatever we need to do as businesses or whatever, lower taxes and make this country great again. One of the ways of doing that is literally with complete and utter independence, and it means you remove the banking system, you remove the way the pharmaceuticals are regulated by the British. Everything is pushed towards them. It is a way of laundering money for them. Everyone can see what's going on at the moment. We all should know there is a certain product in tablet form, 2 different elements that is agnostic to the virus as such. It will deal with any virus, and we know that it works. It's worked in many other nations, and yet they're keeping us away from it. Those particular pills are something like a penny each to manufacture. And yet we can't go. We're not even allowed to talk about it. If you talk about it, they take it down.
Yeah. And it says it all. It absolutely says it all. The response to those little tablets. Yeah.
No, I agree entirely. So again, I'm going to wish you all the best and of luck in battling Spain. I really do hope.
And also not to forget Cheshire and Amersham as well. We're fighting hard there as well, Adrian.
Well, funny enough, I've got that noted in my diary, and I'm hoping to get over there to have a look, and I'll be going in there to the count hopefully as well, and I'll be at the count on that one. And for that one, I will be reporting directly, obviously, on the Freedom Alliance Party. But also as an English journalist and explaining to people and doing various videos on that. So I intend, because you're obviously an Englishman and proud of England and what we've achieved as a country, we was the people to give the world the first human rights charter, which was the Magna Carta of 1215. And I think people it's about time they was educated about it and understand what it is, that the British have took off us, and just to emphasise this to everyone, every one of the rights that you have now had stolen from you, literally, it wasn't an English Parliament that did that; it was a British Parliament. And the sooner the people out there learn that, the sooner we can get all those rights back, and start rebuilding the country for our children.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah.
Right. Well, I will be up.
Help us do it, and if your listeners could help us do it as well, we need more hands, we need more members, and come elections next May, if they let us have elections next May, we're going to need more candidates. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. So again, anyone who is watching this, anyone who is listening to this, don't forget either side of the fence, whether it's the English Democrats, because we know that they stand with us, or the Freedom Alliance Party. I've already put their details and their websites on there. I've already told everyone I'm a member of both parties. Anyone who stands up for England is fine in my book. I ain't got a problem with that. Again, there are certain issues I've got with the establishment and the way that they will attack you. We've got a lot of experience with that and not got an issue with pushing that forward. So it is really good.
Great. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
It's been fascinating, and I look forward to chatting some more and learning some more from a constitutional aspect as well.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all. Yeah. And I will actually be up there. So when I'm up
make contact when you just give us a day or two's notice, and
we'll be about. No doubt we'll help you as well. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I can go then, can I?
You can, thank you.
Cheers. See you again soon.
And then you might have your ears burning because we'll be talking about you.
That's fine.
No worries. Thank you. Okay. So now to the audience. Let's slip into the audience. And what did you think of Jonathan? Jonathan Till? Standing in battling Spain. Love it. So I'm going up there, don't forget. Caustic, guy on the screen should join our live chat to learn. Yeah, he probably will do. I'm hoping he will do, Caustic. Bye for now, Jonathan. I think you're going to be seeing more from that party. I'm hoping they're going to take that on board with the independence element. If you want to fight back on the independence side, and I'll tell you for why, because international law is on our side. And that is something that we're now keying into. Again, on the 14th of June, we're going to have this element. Dave Holden, impressed, might even join. See, well done, David. Like I say, I've joined both parties. If you want to shape an English party, and if you want intelligent, everyday working people, running businesses, and most of these people are businessmen and businesswomen, right? That's what I like about it. They actually get their hands dirty and know what they need from society to move forward with the country and their business and create the wealth, right? And we are a commonwealth, remember that. I've got no issues with Scotland, no issues with the Welsh at all. In fact, I absolutely love the Welsh, absolutely love the Scots, and we just need to keep doing that. So, Chris Don, yes, you are late again, my friend. Stuart Wald, no idea, did not know they did. It's strange, not knowing what that is. King of Kings, you would automatically think to yourself there is something wrong with them, and you would tell them where to go. It's not good, whichever way you look at it. I don't know what that refers to. BF about it, I will be there. Well done. So don't forget, on these dates, I'm going to be up there. If anyone wants to help me out, I know there's people who's been asking me, when are you going up there? The answer is the 5th till the 12th, and I've got to find places to stay up there. And I will be pounding the streets with you. We're going to try as much as we can to put, so from the channel's point of view, and again, just to give a massive shout out to Quentin, he gave me a load of leaflets. I'm not sure how many was there. I'm sure if he's in the chat, he'll tell me how many was there. But he's done the A4 leaflets, which the lovely Vivacious is the word. I don't know what it is. I actually met her at the weekend. She's absolutely stunning, right? And she don't even realise it. And that is Stacey from Yorkshire. And what we're going to do is that leaflet design is going to go out, and we'll be putting it out there and speaking to people. Again, there could be a bit of I'm hoping an intellectual debate with what's his name, the fella that is going to be standing there that was an MP for Labour, the Scottish fella. I forget his name, but someone's going to tell me what his name is. But maybe read in the Constitution. Well done, Quentin. Let me tell you something. Quentin is a fantastic geezer, right? Come there again. It really is a pleasure to have him on the team, I'll tell you. Really lovely fella. And again, once we've started moving through some of these things, we've got a few things going on. We're going to go there from there. Poppy Lovers coming up there. Michael Crook, Galloway. That's it, Galloway. How could I forget him? I don't see. I think he's a highly intelligent man. I think his ideology, I just cannot have it wrapped around me. I just cannot. It don't just sit with me. I am a pure capitalist. I believe in this country. I believe in the power of the working people in this country to bring themselves out of the doodah, literally. And that is what should happen. So again, what I'm going to do, hopefully, we're going to be seeing this. Let me just make sure. I'm not even sure if I can do this or not, but no, I won't be able to. If I do it, it'll go pear-shaped. So what I'm going to do is show you this political party on the screen, and I'm hoping you're going to be able to see it. Touch wood, you're going to be able to see it on the screen. There it is, the Freedom Alliance. Right, remember, people, what I believe in. I believe in England, and I believe in the Constitution. I believe in our constitutional statutory rights. I believe and love my country. I believe in my countrymen and women. I love Scotland. I love Wales. I love the Northern Irish. Some of the Northern Irish are more English than the English. And we've got to make sure that we take back this nation. Not sure what I'm getting coming through here. No, I think he's cool. I'm getting quite a few nice messages come through there by that gentleman. So, Jonathan, you are well liked. You've obviously got a good way about you because, well, the first thing, what's not to like about you? You're not a politician, are you? You're just a normal everyday geezer like the rest of us. That's exactly what we want. I keep saying to people, just join. and do what you got to do there. So there again, there it is. And you can see at the top there, you've got England, Scotland, Wales candidates. We do need to see this created in a very positive way for England. It's not difficult, and I have sent some of my points over to Jonathan, and I'm hoping he's going to go through it. But again, you can see it now. You've got the Chesham and Amersham by-election. You've also got the Batley and Spen. But if I was to set up a party tomorrow, the structure of the way they've structured that with England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland is the way they do it. I've got no issues with a brotherhood of nations. I've got absolutely every issue with a supranational state of the British, because it is the British that are seeking to destroy England with regionalisation, and they are the people that have taken this down. None of the negative effects that you're seeing in your life now, have been created by an English Parliament. Everything that was positive in your life, or used to be positive in your life, from a rights perspective, was all given to you by the English. Our ancient laws and customs, our statutes and constitutional statutes, our common law, the common law doctrines, the restraint of trade, which is an English maxim. All right, it goes, and it's a thread that goes right away through history, back over 800 years. And restraint of trade basically is what stops fascism, communism, Marxism, the Fabians, whatever you want to describe it as, the socialist doctrine. And that socialist doctrine, it seeks to control the means of production. That means it seeks to control you. It wants to control your labour. Your labour is its labour, the state's labour. You are just a pawn. As soon as you become... let me just go back to there and see you've got all the difference. Leave home whenever they choose, make a living and operate a business premises, freely associate, assemble and protest, speak freely without censorship or penalty, and make their own free and uncoerced medical choices. What else could you ask for, right? So there it is. I'm going to take that back off the screen for a second. Talk to you again. Let me just understand. Everyone should understand this, right? The communist, fascist, and we're living in a fascist state at the moment. We're moving towards, in my opinion, communism, and it is a very dangerous situation that we are now in. The thing that separates England from the rest of the world is we have a constitution that implicitly and a common law, English maxim, that stops fascism, communism, Marxism in its tracks, and it's called restraint of trade maxim, and that means that the state is not allowed. That's why you're not allowed to have monopolies. You're not allowed to, in certain contracts, if someone was to say to you, if you left the company tomorrow and they said, we're not allowing you to do this, this or this or this for 6 months or a year, you can go straight into court, and the court will say to you, strike that out of the contract, strike out that out of the contract, strike that out of the contract, that's all unlawful. So why is it that the government are being allowed to do this? Because the British, right, created in 2005 with the Marxist, Leninist, fascist Fabians and Tony Blair and every single one of the members of his cabinet, bar one, were Fabians, right? The Fabian Society, a Marxist institution that swore to socialism, sworn an oath to socialism. Let me just say this to you. They created the Constitution Reform Act of 2005, which is illegal, right? They created the situation today as we see it, where judges are now appointed by a political master. That means the independence of the judiciary has been called into question. You're seeing British judges being appointed by a British Parliament, by a British Ministry of Justice, and the reason why they are ignoring, by the way, this is unconstitutional and illegal under international law, ignoring the English Constitution that gave us our rights. And one way or the other, you need to stand up and do something with that. So there's the elements of that. Have we got... has my screen gone pear-shaped? Evening, screen only showing empty calendar page. What's an empty calendar page? Let me see if I can find something else for you. I can't go back to any other screen. I'm getting millions of things kicking up here. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, maybe it was that. Let me see if I can push this back up again. Can you actually see my screen now? Or can you see this screen now? Let me know if you can see me now on the screen. I've took everything down and you should be seeing me back on the screen. If you're not, for some reason it's gone pear-shaped. and I'm probably blank screen with you in the corner. Alright, let me see if I can refresh this screen. Refresh. Let me go again. Let's stick that up there. And now push that back out there. Can you now see me? You now see? Yeah, see you. Well, did you miss me that much, did you? Right. So again, don't forget, people, I'm going to be coming back to, and I do apologise if that went pear-shaped. Don't forget, I'm coming up the Batley and Spen, and I will be staying, hopefully, with Mark, and anywhere else I can get a few nights with my head down. I've no doubt my feet are going to be aching. But after walking and doing my bit of training this Saturday, walking for 5 hours non-stop, can you see that, hey, Daddy Dragon? Listen, you see the tan, son? You see the tan? Look, hey, I've even got white lines going down the side there, right? And not only that, where my hair's a little bit thinning on the top there, I've got a bit of sunburn on the back of my nut a little bit. I'm going to have to try and sort something else out. So, don't forget, we will be up there with our mega caps on. We'll be delivering these leaflets. There you go. Don't forget, people, I'm going to show you that on the screen there. You're seeing it up on your screen. What do you think of that as a hat? Have a look at that. The Constitution is the solution, and it is. And all you got to do is start to enforce it like we have been. There it is there. These are embroidered. They're on the website. I'm sure someone's going to give it to you. Politely, of course. So there it is on the screen. You're all seeing that. I stated my constitution to police and they dismissed it. And if you go by Article section of the treaties, two things, keep pace acts do not like it. The answer is, then you need to make complaints, because the more stuff that keeps coming back at them, and you also need to make sure that you emphasise the fact that you are an English independence, you want your rights enforced under international law, that you should be respected and promoted as a party that is standing for independence, right? And anyone who's not doing that, then I mean, anyone who works for the state that then either calls you far right, that says you're not welcome here, or any of them things, if they work for the state or anything to do with the state, they have committed a human rights abuse against you. It's suable, it's actionable in the courts. Let's go for it, right? Let's start taking back control of our country and do it the right way without violence. And the easiest way to do that is to get rid of the British, because once they're gone and once the civil service is gone as we know it today, we'll keep going. So let me just have a look at another quick element that I was going to show you. Don't forget, I am going to show you this because I think everyone should know about this. So we're going to touch wood. Let's see what comes up on that screen. I am hoping that you can see this on your screen. Whether I come up in the bottom or not, I don't know. I think you can see this on the screen, but you shouldn't probably be seeing me. There it is there. The people of England have the right to self-determination under international law. The right to self-determination, Article 1, text, International Instruments, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, ICESCR, 2 separate covenants, both signed by the British. Article 1. All peoples have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social and cultural development. 2. All peoples may, for their own ends, freely dispose of their natural wealth and resources without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation, based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law. In no case may a people be deprived of its own means of subsistence. Right, remember that. 3. The states parties to the present covenant, that means the British, including those having responsibility for the administration, the British, of non-self-governing England and trust charities, shall promote the realisation of the right of self-determination and shall respect that right in conformity with the provisions of the Charter of the United Nations, right? There is only one vote that supports your English rights, and that is to vote English, vote England, right? And if you want to see it another way, if you want to vote for Jonathan Tilt in that area, then you are voting for England, because at least he's stuck England on the map again with that political party. He's got up there, he's doing it. That's what I respect, people actually doing it, right? So well done. And obviously you're going to have the English Democrats as well up there with another one. I'm glad we got competition. We split the vote. Let's get out there and do it, and let's show the English flag and say, listen, love England, love Yorkshire. Let's just take back control of this country and take our rights back. That's exactly what you should be doing. So there it is, people. And there is the other part of that leaflet. Vote English, putting England first, supporting the rule of law, defending the English Constitution. There's the English Democrats. Again, we need some more of them made up without the English Democrats one. And then you can still have to take back control on it. And then what we can do is we can dish out the leaflets, and then anyone that is respecting our country is going to get a vote from me is the answer. So let me have a quick look as I poke that out. Hopefully you're seeing me back on your screen. Let me go back to there and see what everyone's seeing. Again, I'm really grateful for everyone that's tuned in tonight. I know it's a bank holiday. I know that you probably had better things to do, but I am grateful that you tune in. You don't forget, I love you all to bits. I'm so grateful for everyone who turned up on Saturday, and especially to Charlie and others that carried that heavy bag for me. It's no mean feat, let me tell you something. But we all worked together and got that job done. We had a nice pint later in the hotel at the Hilton, and they was lovely to us. There was no negativity towards us, all wearing the English T-shirts, if you've all seen, bowling about with our English flags and everything, but they was sweet as a nut, and they actually said, well done for going on the march. He even gave me a towel and said, would Sir like to freshen up? And I'm like, with this sweat, you know what I mean? So it was there. I am feeling fantastic again. Preston Gym, Reps Gym in Preston. Don't forget, I've got a link on the website to them. Thank you very much. And if obviously your Freedom Alliance want a link on my website to them, I'll gladly do that for them. Again, everyone needs to pull together now. Let's do it for our kids. Let's do it for us. Let's do it for our ancestors. But most importantly, let's not drop the ball on this. Let's not extinguish this eternal flame of freedom that the English gave us. Yeah, our ancestors gave us, and we must pass that eternal flame of freedom on to the next generation. And the only way of doing that is to avoid the Acts of Union. And we will make England great again. So with that, I don't think there's much else I can say at the moment. I don't want to start waffling. I'm really grateful for everyone tuning in. Caustic, darling, thank you for being there. I know it's difficult and you're rushed off your feet. Don't think I don't realise that. I absolutely do. And America is still one of them places where you have to go and earn a living, right? And if you don't earn a living, you don't pay your mortgage, and you don't pay for food, and you don't pay for petrol in your car, or gas, as the Americans call it. But one thing I will say, that lady is a tough lady, goes out there, gets it done, and she carries. That's what I like to hear. Hey, don't mess with caustic. I've got a 38 in my purse. Right, so there you go. Be lucky. I'm loving you all. I want as much assistance as possible in Bately and Spen. And again, the other place there, which I'm just going to bring it up on my screen because I keep forgetting what it's called, only because it's not my area. Chesham and the Amersham by-election. Get out there, people. Anyone in the area that can give him some help, go onto this website, click on his name, tie up with him and say, like, do you need any assistance, and we'll help him as much as we can. That's it. So, again, I'm really happy that everyone, and again, I'm very happy with Jonathan. Hopefully, the party will start getting somewhere. I do want to see, again, I'm just a normal everyday working man. I've been sacked 3 times for standing up with the English. We are now getting somewhere. And don't forget, the 14th of June, we are having an Independence Day rally against the British government, against them taking all of our rights in London Parliament Square. We ain't walking anywhere. We're going there with our banners. We will be standing there with a Magna Carta. We're going to be standing there with a Bill of Rights. We're going to be standing there with a Coronation Oath Act. We're going to be standing there with all of our, or most of them, of our constitutional laws. And most importantly, we'll be standing up there for our right to self-determination as a nation of England. And if we are attacked by the police, if we are attacked by the authorities in any way, they are committing a human rights abuse against us. And I must say this, anyone. If you're coming up there, you've got to follow it up. If they do attack us, if they do try and move us on, and if they are not promoting us, and if they are still tearing us down, if they're still saying we're far right and all that crap in the background, let's stand up and say, listen, that's it. You're committing a human rights abuse. This is our rights under international law, and we're now going to start taking up this right. We are now presenting this right, and we're standing on this ground to say to that British Parliament, we've had enough, right? That's it. So, again, thank you all for watching. All I can say is tune in tomorrow night, and we'll see if we can get some other feedback from some people. But don't forget the dates that I am going up there. So I will see you all very shortly. But there you go. There is the Freedom Alliance Party. You all know what dates I'm going up there. There you go. Let's see if I can do this again. Paste that. There it is. That's it. Be lucky. Don't forget, go to my website if you want any of the hats. If you want to go out there campaigning with the hat on, please do so. I'll be taking some of my constitutional cards. I'll also be taking some English flags up there that we can walk about with. Don't forget to deliver these leaflets. Again, thank you to Quentin that he is paid out of his own money for some of these leaflets to be professionally printed, and they look the nuts. I'll have to go and get them out of the boot of the car. But I will be coming up there. I am going to have the loud hailers on the car. I will be driving around. And we will be posting and doing what we can do up there, right? So I just want everyone to know that is it, right? Now you can go to work now. We can do what we've got to do. There's some other things I'm going to be talking about with people in the background. But other than that, don't forget about the 14th of June, which is we're going to be there at 11 a.m. Now, what you can do is mill about. If you get up there, if you're a bit worried and you don't see any, as soon as you see the English flag come up, make sure you come straight to us. Because the more of us pulling up the English flag and getting the banners out, that's when they know who we are, what we are, and we have the right to self-determination. That is what's going to be on one of the banners, and it explains the laws, literally that poster. Hopefully we can raise a bit of money to get that made. Bang, we're up there. Right, and once we're up there and once we're doing that, if they start attacking us, if they start trying to move us on, we're going to say, we're going to go for you now. As individuals and as an authority, you are now committing a human rights abuse against people that are standing up for self-determination. It is our Article 1 rights, whether you like it or not, right? And that's exactly what we're doing here. Bang. Let's put it back. Let's use the enemy's resources against them. And that's exactly what we were doing it. And I think Mick, who I am going to be nicknaming Wet Tyler, who comes from Kent, is going to be one of the people who's going to be there. There's going to be a few other people there. We'll make some phone calls and see if I can get anyone else organised to get up there. But don't forget, 14th of June, you're not going to be walking miles. You're just going to be up there. If there's anyone in Taunton in Somerset, or if there is a number of people in or anywhere near that area, we've got some people that want to come up from Taunton and Somerset. They've got an old car, but they're really worried about the car making it. So if there's anyone else who's going to drive up or come up from that area, please contact me. Right, Taunton, Somerset. I live in Taunton, Somerset. I've got a car and gun up there, don't mind sharing petrol, got a newish car or whatever. If you're going to do that and come to London for that day, don't forget it is, I believe, a Monday. But you've got to start doing these things on normal days as well, because doing the Pied Piper walk that I had done on Saturday, I totally agree with a few people who said, listen, you're just following the Pied Piper, right? And you're being the sheeple. And they're sitting back and laughing at you. Unless we start being disruptive, but nicely disruptive, and have a genuine reason to be there, which is the right to self-determination under international law, that they are committing a human rights abuse against us, the English, right? Let's get up there. Don't want to see any British flags. So what we want to see is the English flags, the Scottish flags, and the Welsh flags, every respect to every nation. And don't forget, the British are a supranational state, no different to the EU, no different to the USSR, no different to Yugoslavia, right? It don't end well, people. Let's go. Let's take it back. That's it. Good night. God bless. Au revoir. See you later. Tiddly poo and all that. And now I'm going to make myself something to eat. Any messages, don't forget, email me, etc. I'm hoping, let me have a look at this before I do anything. Looks like I'm getting loads of we all have our eyes on you, making sure your show goes smoothly. Caustic, you got lovely eyes, you know that. 5B5 white. Let me just have a look. Let's have a look at that. This is second home. You're here for both weeks if you want to do that. Thank you, Mark. I've just seen that message. You're sharing a clock. Am I? Stacey, thank you for that one. Oh, I forgot to show everyone, and I've got to just show this briefly. Someone sent me this image. Now, if anyone knows, and I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about, right? I'm not sure if I can bring that up as a little one, but I'm going to show this. Right, if this is some ancient being that is X amount of 1,000 years old, but someone has mentioned this is a true statue, thousands and thousands of years old, but someone has mentioned that it looks like Active Patriot. Now, I'm not suggesting it does look like Active. I'm just saying, well, bollocks, I'm saying it doesn't look like him. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully, he's forgiven me for that little quip. He wasn't bad looking, though, was he? Oh, yeah, I'm not insulting him or nothing, am I? You know? It's just the eyes, isn't it? He looks like he's had about 30 cannabis plants before he walked off, this geezer. Right, that's it. Be lucky. I'm off. Good night. God bless. And don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is